Welcome back to the channel and a new video on the rack build. So next step in the process for me is to get these up here, and I want 4 doubles. So I bought some boxes of 5s because it's always good having spares. So 5 double sockets, 5 back boxes, and what I do need to do is knock out, let's see if I can show you how to do these, is to knock out these. So a couple in the top on the first one, and then all of these apart from the last set on the 4th one. So let me get that done and we'll come back and pick up. So that's those knocked out now. And what I mean is, as these go on the wall, I'm going to have cable coming down through the first one. So the first one hasn't got both sides, through the first one, and what it will do is it will sort of go in a loop and then come back up and out. So this is the first one, and what we've got is we've got the cable coming in at the top and out, and then going into this socket, out of this socket, into the next socket, into the next socket, and then back in a loop, and that's what creates a ring main. And what will happen is these will be tied up against each other so that you get cable through both of them, and there'll be 4 sets of these. So let's mark the wall out, start drilling, get the back plates on to make the work a little bit easier for the electrician. One of my flaws as a human is definitely patience. If I want something doing, I sort of want it done now, which is quite ironic considering I keep neocaridina. Let me flip the camera. So what I've done is I was going to have 3 double plugs and a double plug with USB, but the price difference is unreal, and I've already got these triple USB plugs, so that's just plugged in there at the moment. Now they may look a little unlevel, but it's just because they're not screwed in. I've put them in there as first fix, and our cable is going to come out the back of that conduit, and I'll put a piece of trunking up to that top plug, so wires will go into the first one, into the second one, into the third one, into the 4th one, back out into the ring main. Just saves the electrician having to sort of do all that as well, keeps a few minutes off his hours. Another day, another task, and what we're doing today is we're doing the air feeds into the rack. Now ideally what would be nice if I could get the air feed higher than the actual rack itself, but because of where we've put the plug sockets, which I probably should have put the other side, and where I've got stuff on the ceiling for the conduit, it's difficult to get it up there without it sort of looking unsightly. So my idea is that we're just going to use non-return valves in the airlines, and what I'm looking to do, so this is the pump that we'll be using, and what I'm looking to do is off the rubber hose on that pump, take a 22mm pipe up to the first level, T-piece, and then all the full length of that, so I can drop as many airlines into that pipe as I want, and then up off the T. And for now I'm going to put an elbow, so I'm only going to this sort of middle shelf with that. I haven't got anything for the left side yet. I will, and I'll sort of discuss that. But long-term plan is we could potentially come off one of these and just run airline into those tanks if I need to. Ultimately, when I strip the other tanks down over there, I will have parts, and they're quite expensive. So I think a T-piece is 5 or 6, 7 quid. So if you're having to buy loads of them when you've already got them, it sort of defeats the object. But I think what I'll do at a later point is where the elbow is here, drop a T in and just run an upright, and then off that upright, so it's not in the way, just run airlines from there into the top tank. I could theoretically take them from the middle row up into the top tank, but let's get on with that. Now I do need to fix everything in here. That feels loose. I do need to fix everything in here, but what I'm going to do first of all is just mask it up. These pipes are really easy to cut. So I've got a T-piece, as I said, an elbow for the top section, and then a couple of end caps. So these just sort of close the loop. And rather than sort of measure, I'm literally just going to drop this on the floor, get a rough estimate, put the T to where I think it should go, where if that goes, cut the pipe. It is that simple. But because the pipe's quite long, I'm going to struggle with the first piece. And I've also bought some clips that I can screw into the frame to clip this into. So the first one's going to be quite difficult to cut. So I'm just going to have to guesstimate it for now. And ideally, I want it. In fact, I can do this quite simply because I do have a ruler. So that's going to go into there. And I'm looking to get my first cut. So I'm going to want that about there. And I want it in. So I'm looking to hit the 9 on here from that way or thereabouts. So if I do it a little bit over, I don't know if you'll see this cut on camera because of how I'm having to do it where the camera's based. But what we were looking to do, we were looking to get that to 9. I'll make it a little bit over. And then this is just a pipe cutter. It's really easy to use. You just put it over. I'll move it. I'll actually put it to 9 because if I put it to 9, where I'm cutting it, I've got the width of that. So just knock that over, clamp it, and then what this should do, this should give me a nice clean cut. And it is that easy to cut. So from there, we're going to drop a T-piece in, and it just pushes. You have to make sure it locks in place. And what I'll do is there's line markers on these. This is obviously an upright, but where I go across, you can sort of choose. They're an inch. You can choose to do every 2 inch, every 3 inch. I'm probably going to put 6 in each section, just so that gives me the option to run 2 potential filters in each tank if I'm going air. So let's have a look at that. That's sort of there or thereabouts. And then what I need is I need the length of this. So this is actually going to sit sort of outside here, the way I'm putting it in. I might need a piece a bit longer than that, actually. Let's have a look how that sits. It's going to sit in there. No, that's going to be bob on, that is. So what I'm looking for now is a piece that's full length. And I can actually put this into place and cut it. It is sort of behind the camera. But if we have that there, and I don't need to be super accurate, and that's the point. If we have that there, and this goes into there, let me see if I can just measure that slightly. Can I do it a different way? I'm going to have to go and cut it from here. So if I take that to about there. Excuse me a second, guys, while I just cut this. I might be out of view. So that's given me that piece. And the irony is I've got stuff on there that I could reuse if I said split that. But I don't want to split that tank until I'm ready to do this. So I need this in place before I strip that down. That's the problem. So we can fit an end piece to this. That's the end on. That's going to go in here. I might need to have a bit of a play to get this in here, but that's going to go in there. I do need to put this into situ now to measure my last piece. Got a walking stick knocking around of that, to be honest, to start with, and then we'll have a look. So these are really easy to cut. Before I clip them, I need to sort of get them drilled and stuff. So we're looking for 22, which takes me to that pipe there. And if you want to be dead accurate, you just do it in reverse. They cut really easily. Elbow, 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 elbow. Where have I put the elbow? There. And then what I do is I just do like an inch at a time and get an idea. Oh. Tiny bit, and this is where it starts to get awkward when you're doing thin pieces, because they don't always cut square if you're not holding in the jaws correctly. That might do. I'll give you a price breakdown of this afterwards. I'll give you an actual price breakdown, not an estimate. Okay, so that's in. And then my last piece, for now, should be really easy. So all I'm looking to do is run a piece across here. And if I sort of just get a rough idea, once these are together, you can pull them apart as well. So it's not sort of the end of the world if you clip it all together. I'll show you how to do that. I've just pinched my stomach. I'll show you how to do that. So what you get is, once you put the end on, or an elbow or whatever you're putting on, there's like a little clip here, and when the clip's expanded, they're actually locked in place, they seal. But if you want to take them off, you just close the clip and you can pull them off. So you can sort of disassemble these, which is why I'm keen to sort of use what's over there. Once I've got my air in place, I can start moving tanks, so that'll be the next phase. But for now then, so what we're going to do is get some clips on, fix this into position. I've got loads of rubbish on here at the moment, bags of soil, gravel, everything. And once this air's in place, I can start moving stuff off and moving tanks on. But I'll get this clipped up. I'll show you the clips. We'll lock it all into place and we'll pick up from there. And there we have it. So we've got this. I haven't put the T-piece in yet, but I will, and I'll do the same. So I'll drop some clips on that. And then this goes down, right down the bottom to the pump underneath. I haven't clipped it to the sides. I don't think I need to. I've kept it sort of away from there to stop vibration. But I'll get this pipe clipped in, probably just put 2 on each side and 1 on the end. I could have gone a little bit longer here, right to the end, but there's no need to. I just need to get an airline out of it. And I'm probably going to pull 2 out of there, 2 out of there, and 2 out of there. I may go up from there. I don't know yet, but I can always sort of drop more in as and when I need to. So next bit is getting the air valves in and showing you guys how to fit those. What we're looking to do here is use these type of air valves. So they're screw threaded on one side and airline on the other side. What I've found is that using a 4.5 or 5 mil drill bit drilling them in, you can then screw these into the pipe. Now, I've marked this pipe where the clips are in green, and as I mentioned before, all I want is 2 valves in every section. So if we start here, I'm using the guide as a line, and the type of drill bit I've used, one with a pointed end, not an angled end, just because I find them easier to sort of get started, and you can sort of drill into the pipe. And I'll just do one at each end for now. So let's put one in here. They don't have to be too accurate, but what I've found is that if you don't do them at a certain angle, then all your valves end up being not level. Sorry, keep banging that, knocking things. Let's do the other couple up here, and then I'll show you how to put the valves in. Now, what I learned a long time ago when I did the other side, I ended up ripping my fingers to shreds trying to get these valves in, just because of how sort of tight they are. And what I found is if you actually put them in the chuck of the drill and then drop the ratchet really slow, like so, they go in really easy. Don't over tighten them, and you can tighten them up by hand. So it's a little bit longer, takes a little bit of practice, but it makes life so much easier, and you don't end up with absolutely stripped fingers. So let me get all these in, and I'll pick back up. And there we have also 2 each side. The nice thing about putting the markers on is that you can actually put it back where you took it from. And as long as I keep these pipes, these air lines short down to the tanks, if the pump ever fails, it won't siphon backwards because water can't go uphill, if that makes sense. The only time that will be a problem is if I put feeds from here into the very top rack, or the rack above it, which I'm probably not going to do. I probably am going to put something, extend this up with another T-piece once I strip the other thing down. But I'll crack on with the other bit. I'm not going to bother filming that. And we've got our air installed. Last bit before we start moving tanks on then is lighting. And as before, I'm just literally going to use this type of lighting. Now, I don't have all the lighting for this rack. I can move some over from the other rack when I move stuff over, but at the moment I've just got one 3-foot light, so I'm going to fit that in here, and it just screws under. I haven't got a light for the top. Well, I do have a light for the top. It's a Nicru, but it keeps flickering and going off and on. It jumps and so on and so forth. I like the Haiger lights. I'm going to put one in my wish list on Amazon, or if Haiger wants to sponsor that, I need a 3-foot light to the top, or anyone else wants to sponsor that. I want something I can switch blue light off and I can dim down ideally. I hate asking for stuff, but it's cost quite a bit to get this done. GB Shrimp can't support that financially, so I've ended up paying for a lot of this myself. So let's go through the cost before we sort of fit this and wrap it up. So the first trip to the woodyard cost me £90. On top of that, I spent £30 on fixings and screws, etc. So it was £20. So we're up to £110. I then had to spend another £20 on boards, so we're up to £130. I already had the paint, so that doesn't count. Same with the feet, I already had all the stuff for that, so we're up to £130. And I've spent £30 on pipe work at the moment. I already have a light, and I'll use the other lights. So we're looking at £140. It's cost me to completely build this rack, and that's out of my sorry, I've tapped my mic, and that's out of my own pocket. Oh, and we did we had to do the AC unit as well and change the AC unit, but I'd have probably had to do that anyway. So we're looking at about £140 to build this rack in its entirety. So I've got a really sturdy rack for £140, a bit of graft, and let's fit the light. And there we have it, the first light's in. So I've temporarily wired this for now, just because I need to connect all the other stuff up. I did forget about the cost of the electric. So the electrics in total cost me around £50, £60. I reckon to do the whole rack build with all the materials we bought and giving the electrician a drink, stuff like that, we're looking close on £200. A metal rack, a decent metal rack will cost you sort of similar to that. The rapid racking stuff's very expensive if you want it to be. But I much prefer that, and the reason I prefer it is because just fitting the airlines, I can screw things into the frame. Can't do that with the metal rack. I still need to, so I've got the tanks for the bottom, I've got the tanks for that bit. Somebody's given me a couple of tanks, but I need to buy 6 tanks for here. I've got all the lighting. The only thing outstanding is the light for the top one. You need to see what's coming there. And this is probably a great time to ask you guys to support us by hitting the subscribe, hitting the thumbs up, dropping us a comment, stuff like that. If you want to become a channel member, there are membership, and if I grow membership, I'll start doing sort of members only stuff as well. I've got one last thing to show you guys before we finish, and it's all to do with lives. Give me a minute, I'll show you. So this is my last little bit, and it's a little scroller. I wish I'd have gone for the bigger one. So this was off TikTok shop, and I saw it on, I watched somebody on there called Kitch, so thanks Kitch, and Kitch had one of these running, and me being a bit of a skinflint, I bought the smaller one. I wish I'd have bought the bigger one, but I can sort of program that, you know, thanks for gifts, any gifts appreciated, thanks for subbing, the website, stuff like that. I may at some point end up getting the bigger one that fully covers this whole rack. So when I'm sort of sitting or standing doing lives, that's on in the background or up in the top corner. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up, drop us a comment. If you're not already a sub, that sort of helps us to grow on YouTube subs. And hope you've enjoyed it. Next one will be moving tanks, and I may have something new in, but you'll have to watch and put your bell notification on for that. So until next time, everybody, take care. Bye-bye.